Okay, so basically I've had a lot of questions from my friends lately about how I went about getting my job, what I did when I was in college, and all that kind of stuff. So basically, I got my first full-time job as a web developer, and I've been working there for about 6 months now. And I'm making this video now because I still remember everything that I did in college and all that kind of stuff. I can't give you a whole lot of advice about what to do within your IT career because I'm still brand new at it, but I can definitely tell you what to do and what not to do when you're in college. All right, so first piece of advice is learn what you actually want to do within the IT career field. It was extremely surprising to me when I was in college because so few people within that field actually knew what it was that they wanted to do. I you have like a computer science degree, but that field is huge. There is so many different things that you can do with a computer science degree. So many different things. And it just blew my mind, at graduation time, how many people they have their computer science degree and they still do not know what it is they want to do. And so they just end up applying for, just any IT job out there. And that's not a good thing. You need to know, honestly, you need to know as early as possible, kind of like what it is you want to go into. You don't have to maybe know specifically what job, but you really need to know whether you want to be an operations person or whether you want to be a development person. So do you like fixing things and keeping things running, or do you like programming? Do you like making the applications that people use? So you need to know that as quickly as you can. Um, and unfortunately, college is not really going to answer that question for you. It's going to be up to you to kind of find out what you want to do, because college is all about like teaching you like the foundational, the principles, the concepts, and things like that. None of those things is going to really stand out on your resume to an employer. They're not going to be like, oh, you know how to make a while loop, or you know how to make a function. Everybody knows that kind of stuff. So you need to find out as soon as possible what it is you want to do, and then try to take classes and learn skills that have to do with that job. Another thing is try to get an internship as soon as you can, because internships will actually expose you to kind of like real world and how an IT department is set up, how it works, what are the different jobs. Broadly, IT, and it's funny because they never even like really went over this in college. I found out basically everything about how the real world works through an internship and part-time jobs, things like that. So in IT, there's generally two kind of broad areas. There's the operations side, which their job is kind of like to basically keep things running smoothly, things like that. So usually an entry level position for operations is like a support service or like help desk technician type thing, where you're going to people's computers or you're remoting into their computers and you're fixing things and installing things and doing stuff like that. And then you can kind of advance into like a system administrator or a network administrator, which is kind of the same thing but a lot more advanced. Um, and then on the other side of things is the development side, which is where you're making the programs that people use, basically. And usually the career progression for development is you start out as just a regular programmer. You move up to sometimes like an analyst or a programmer two or something like that. And then after that, you can be like a senior programmer, programmer three, that kind of stuff. And then obviously on both sides, there is management opportunities also, if that's your thing. But college doesn't really teach you that. College is just kind of like, here's how you do Java, here's how you do SQL, you know, and they never really give you like any perspective of like, what is actually useful in the real world and things like that. The third tip is probably the most important out of all of these. Number three is learn how to teach yourself new things. So um, when you're in college, they're going to teach you a lot of really like good foundational like concepts and principles about computers. And it's all helpful and it's all necessary to know that stuff. And in addition, it kind of weeds out the people that really aren't cut out for this line of work and things like that. But once you get your degree, in all honesty, your journey is just beginning because there are so many technologies involved with like any job that you get, and they're always changing. There's always new like frameworks coming out, new libraries, new programming standards, new design patterns, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just going to tell you, your full time job is probably going to be a lifetime of learning. You're always going to be teaching yourself new stuff. And so, definitely don't think that just because you graduate that, you know everything that you're ever going to need to know, because that is could not be further from the truth. um, Another reason that this is important, self teaching, is because that's where you can pick up the skills that you need to know for your job, for your future job, that they don't teach you in college. In my case, like I went to a university that was very, very centered on like the compiled languages like Java, C++, C, things like that. Whereas my job now is all scripting languages.